Hi, and welcome to your daily news update for Wednesday, November 2nd, 2011. I'm JT Petsch. As the holiday season is quickly approaching, consumers are hoping for some good news for our economy. This is, however, not what they received as the Federal Reserve significantly reduced its forecast for economic growth in the United States over the next 2 years. The Fed has predicted that the economy could see growth between 2.5 and 2.9% in 2012 and between 3 and 3.5% in 2013. Both of these projected ranges are significantly lower than the ones made in June earlier this year. Unemployment will also remain above 8.5% at the end of 2012 and about 7.8% by the end of 2013. Despite the Fed's acknowledgement of the disappointing economic state, they failed to announce any new measures to stimulate growth. This is in stark contrast to the outcome of the previous two meetings, which resulted in the Fed announcing new strategies to spur the economy. The founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, may be extradited to Sweden over allegations of sexual abuse made against him by two women there last year. Assange, however, is seeking final appeal to the Britain's highest court. So far, however, two of Britain's most senior judges declined all four objections his defense team has raised. Their decisions make it all the more likely that Assange will face accusers in Sweden. The 43-page ruling made by the judges adds to the 11th-month legal battle that has seen multiple court appearances across London. Assange was briefly arrested in December of last year as Swedish authorities filed an arrest warrant demanding his return to face allegations of sexual molestation, unlawful coercion, and rape made by WikiLeaks volunteers in Stockholm in August 2010. Assange denies the allegation and has engaged a series of high-profile lawyers to fight the extradition warrant, arguing among other things that he could not get a fair trial and that he might face later extradition to the United States, where he says his life might be in danger. We got good news today as the business loop east of Jamestown heading out past the truck stop is finally complete. The road opened Tuesday after several months of construction, so thankfully no more driving on those bumpy roads if you're heading out to get a bite to eat or heading out of town. The search for Ronald Johnson, a 74-year-old male from Riverdale, North Dakota, was scaled down Monday after no new information of his whereabouts has been discovered. Johnson was reported missing after he didn't make planned visits with his son in Jamestown on October 15th, his sister in Valley City on the 16th, and a scheduled stress test at the Veterans Affairs Hospital in Fargo on October 17th. Despite the discovery of Johnson being at the Four Bears Casino and Lodge in Newtown on the 16th, there has been no other reports of Johnson appearing anywhere else. Johnson is a diabetic and has undergone double bypass surgery in the past. He is 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighs 220 pounds, has gray hair, a beard, and a mustache. He also wears glasses. Johnson drives a gold 1982 Cadillac Fleetwood four-door passenger car. The North Dakota license plate number is HZZ466. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Johnson is asked to contact local law enforcement. Well, the weather has been pretty nice these last few days, but the question remains, will this trend continue? Jessica Gulseth has more.
Thanks, JT. This afternoon was fairly sunny with a high near 45 degrees. Tonight we'll see some clear skies, a slight breeze, and a low of about 25 degrees. We've been waiting and waiting for temperatures to slip down into the low 40s and 30s as fall ends and winter begins, but we're still going to see temperatures in the 50s. Tomorrow is a good example. It will be a bit breezy with a high of 53 degrees. Tomorrow night will be one of the warmer nights this week as we see temperatures in the low to mid 30s. Friday, again, temperatures in the 50s, cooling down to the low 30s as well. And then on Saturday, a chance of some precipitation. There's about a 30 to 40% chance of rain in the afternoon and then rain and sleet later on in the evening. Sunday will carry this trend, only adding snow into the mix. And then on Monday, a few clouds in the sky with highs in the 40s. Warmer weather now, but as the week winds down, we could be looking at some snow. That's the weather, Jamestown. Now back to you.
Thank you, Jessica. It's about that time of year on Jamestown College campus. Time for the theater department's annual fall show. Mike McIntyre is the director of theater at the college, and he has hopes that this year's offering of the Titanic doesn't go down like its namesake. We had a chance to talk with Mike McIntyre as his crew put the finishing touches on the set. Gotta ask, is this anything like the movie?
Well, both the movie and the play do feature an awful lot of truth, awful lot of the actual characters. If you're familiar with the play, or rather if you're familiar with the movie, it centers around two characters that are pure fiction. Okay, the romantic center of that movie are two characters that didn't really exist. And what we have in our play are all characters based on fact. There are some liberties taken with a few characters whose names have probably been seen on the roster and so forth. But what is really the center of the story is all of the different characters that really did experience this situation. So those who are officers on board, the captain's story, the story of Bruce Ismay, who is the owner of the White Star Line, of Thomas Andrews, the man who is credited as the architect and the builder of this particular ship, and the experiences of what their ambitions are, what their thoughts are about the achievements that they've made, and then, of course, the devastating, humbling catastrophe, which sort of brings it all back down to harsh reality.
What made you choose this production?
Well, I try to always keep abreast of new shows as they come out, and this one came out in 1997. Immediately when I heard the score to it, when I first got the recording of it and listened to it, I thought, this is a magnificent show, and I need to be doing this someday. I from the beginning to end, story and music work together in an incredibly effective way. At that time, we of course didn't have the Ryland Fine Arts Center. We didn't have the type of stage that would allow for the magnitude of this show. Well, 10 years ago, this place was built. I started thinking, well, maybe one of these days I'm going to get around to the show. And I was aware that the 100th anniversary of the disaster is going to come up in 2012, during our school year right now. And so even a while back, a number of years back, I thought, that looks to me like the perfect time for us to be presenting it. So it was always an idea lingering for me. When people asked me in the spring, well, what show are we doing in the fall? I kind of withheld telling anybody, not because it wasn't that I didn't really want to do this one. I absolutely wanted us to be able to present it. But the scale of it is so large that you always had kind of this worry about, are we going to get enough people? Are we going to have the technical means to do the things that the show requires? And I'm just delighted to say that all of the things that we've needed in order to be able to do a show of this size have fallen into place. The right people have shown up, and it's going to be a terrific experience.
Music Department Chair Dr. Richard Wallentine is the musical director for the production, and he talked about the challenges of this show over others.
The music in Titanic is actually Titanic, not to be punny about it, but it's a fairly large orchestra accompanying the show. We have a group of musicians, about 26 strong, and ranging from a full string section to full percussion. So it is big music.
Wow. What do you like best about the music in this show?
Probably the variety of musical styles in Titanic. The composer has given us numbers of different kinds of songs, everywhere from, or everything from ragtime to scenes that really come across as operatic, to Gilbert and Sullivan, famous operatic composers in the 19th century, to Celtic music, just a wide variety of styles.
In Jamestown athletics, today the Jimmy volleyball team is wrapping up their regular season as they take on Dickinson State today away. This should be a good match for the Jimmies as they are preparing for the national qualifying tournament in Arizona. The Jimmies have had a very successful year. The women sailed the DAC Conference Championship last week when they beat the Valley City State Vikings 3-0. This is the fourth year in a row the Jimmies have either won or shared this honor. Another Jimmy sports team that has seen success this year is the men's soccer team. Yesterday, they took on St. John's University, where they were victorious, going on to win the match 1-0, and thus increasing their chances to make the playoffs next week in Salt Lake City, Utah. The men play again tonight against University of Mary away, hoping to get yet again a step closer to Utah. Also today, the JV men's and women's basketball teams play away tonight. The men's and women's wrestling teams have their annual duel at the Hanson Center tonight at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me tonight, Jamestown. It's always our goal at JCTV to connect the campus with the community. I'm JT Petsch. Stay classy, Jamestown.